All right, and we will get started with Nilka Martel, board chair of Bronx River Alliance and founder of Loving the Bronx.
Good morning. Good morning to you all. My name is Nilka Martel. I am the board chair of the Bronx River Alliance and the founder of Loving the Bronx. And I am thrilled to be here with you with so many of our partners and allies to celebrate this huge milestone. Last Thursday, Governor Hochul and the New York State Department of Transportation finally listened to us and scrapped their plans to build an unnecessary new road along the Cross Bronx Expressway. This came after months of our coalition holding press conferences, collaborating with elected officials, writing op-eds, and rallying together. For decades, the Cross Bronx Expressway has only brought harm and injustice. It's one of the most congested roadways in the nation, and a new structure would have made that even worse. More than 130,000 vehicles use the expressway every day, with tens of thousands of mega polluting trucks clogging up our roads. A new structure would have brought that pollution right to the doorstep of 3,000 NYCHA residents at Bronx River houses who already can't open up their windows because of pollution. And it would have destroyed critical tree canopy at Starlight Park, negatively impacting the Bronx River Greenway and harming the sensitive Bronx River ecosystem. Outdoor spaces that we depend on and have worked for decades to reclaim, restore, and expand. So this is a major victory for our environment, our health, our community, and our parks. For me, this moment feels like a turning point. DOT recognized our decades of work, and now we have a seat at the table. But our work is far from over. DOT scrapped their plans to build a new road, but they're still considering widening the Cross Bronx, and that's unacceptable. The remaining proposal will add a shared use path to the existing road. It would put people right next to toxic fumes, and it would pollute the Bronx River with stormwater. So we continue to work to make sure that DOT repairs the 5 bridges that need repair without expanding the Cross Bronx footprint. We all know the story very well. Chapter 37, 1 mile. So we're trying to change that story and the negative impacts that it's brought to our communities. We're grateful to be heard and to have a seat at the table, and we look forward to working with DOT towards a more just, sustainable corridor. We have very many speakers today, all eager to share. So let's be mindful of time. If we can reduce our comments to 30 seconds, both brief and brilliant. And I thank you. And with that, I introduce you, the Executive Director of the Bronx River Alliance, Siddhartha Sanchez.
Good morning, everyone. As Nilka said, this is a huge moment and a huge relief for our community. My name is Siddhartha Sanchez, and I'm the Executive Director of the Bronx River Alliance. A new structure along the Cross Bronx Expressway would have threatened our environment and brought even more health-harming pollution. In the Bronx, we already have high asthma rates and the worst health outcomes in the state. But Governor Hochul and the State Department of Transportation listened, and they responded the right way. We want to thank coalition members who contributed tremendously to our success, especially Bronx River House's TA president, YMPJ, Morning Glory Garden, River Garden, Transportation Alternatives, Tri-State Transportation Campaign, Riders Alliance, and the Bronx Council for Environmental Quality, Loving the Bronx, Nilka, Edmundo, Ana, Elena, Victoria, Daniel, Joan, the list goes on. All of our coalition members, thank you. Also want to acknowledge and thank a big thank you to our electeds that came out in support of our work, our campaign, our collective efforts, especially Assembly Member Emerita Torres, Representative Richie Torres, Representative Ocasio-Cortez, Assembly Member Reyes, Assembly Member Septimo, Senator Fernandez, Comptroller Lander, and Public Advocate Williams. But as Nilka said, our work isn't finished. The Department of Transportation is still considering widening the Cross Bronx. This plan is unacceptable as it stands. It would have people walking and biking right alongside the highway's toxic fumes, and it would send more polluted water into the river. Fortunately, we feel that we now have a seat at the table. We look forward to defining this new role with both the State Department of Transportation and the governor's team. And we plan to use our new relationship to the state to advocate for investments that significantly reduce traffic and stormwater. We want projects that help our environment and health, not make it worse. We hope to collaborate with the state and the city on defining more green spaces and green infrastructure related to the Five Bridges project, proactively supporting the changes that have been made in this part of the Bronx. Not supporting infrastructure that destroys crucial community resources is an important step, but it doesn't do enough. We want public transit that works better and projects that improve how we move people, not cars. We spent decades living with the Cross Bronx's legacy of injustice, but this moment can turn the tide. We look forward to working with Governor Hochul and the state DOT instead of perpetrating decades of harm and injustice, working towards making the Reimagine the Cross Bronx vision a reality. We'll make sure the Five Bridges projects becomes an opportunity to start making things right. Thank you, and I'll pass it back to Nilka.
Thank you, Sid. And next up, we'll hear from Elizabeth Adams, Deputy Executive Director for Public Affairs at Transportation Alternatives.
Good morning. I'm Elizabeth Adams with TA. As an organization committed to safe streets for all, we are thrilled that the state will not be building an unnecessary new highway alongside the Cross Bronx Expressway. The Cross Bronx is already one of the most congested roadways in the nation, and it has harmed Bronx residents for far too long. Yet 62% of Bronxites live car-free. We should be building infrastructure that grows green space, centers pedestrians and transit, and reduces car reliance, not increases it. We have seen time and again that expanding highways only leads to more congestion, which causes more traffic crashes, fatalities, and unsafe streets. Our families and loved ones deserve so much better. We are incredibly proud to be a part of this coalition that has set up, fought back, and made it clear that any new highway in the South Bronx is unacceptable. When we fight, we win. We look forward to working with the state on a new plan that will truly imagine the Cross Bronx for the better. Thank you all to the partners and elected officials.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And next up, we have Jackie Cohen, the Director of Climate and Equity Policy at Tri-State Transportation Campaign.
Thanks so much, Nilka. I'm excited to say something I don't get to say nearly enough, which is that we won. This is a tremendous victory for the South Bronx, for environmental justice advocates, for all of New York. Today, the governor also announced that she's postponing the widening of Route 17 in upstate New York. So our advocacy is working. The governor is listening to us. So the Cross Bronx Expressway is one of the most polluting, if not the most polluting highway in New York State. Building new lanes alongside it would have dumped more pollution on 3,000 NYCHA residents at Bronx River houses and reversed years of restoration of the Bronx River. But we organized, we rallied, and we demanded that our state leaders listen to us, and they did. So today we are happily taking our victory lap, but our work is far from over. Widening the existing footprint of the Cross Bronx Expressway is still not off the table, and widening highways means more traffic, more trucks, and more asthma for our kids. So we're here to say, Governor Hochul, work with us. Let this moment be a turning point for New York. Let's repair the five bridges while also investing in public transit, expanding green space, and building a new future for the Bronx, one that ends decades of harm and puts the health and well-being of Bronx residents first. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Laura James from the Bronx River Community Garden.
Hello. Good morning. Hello. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so proud to stand with this incredible coalition. This is a major victory for our health, our parks, and our future, and proof that when we organize, we win. The Bronx already suffers from the worst health outcomes in the state, and we can't afford more pollution or traffic. So we thank Governor Hochul and DOT for scrapping the worst proposals, and we're ready to keep working together for real community-driven solutions. And I hope with seeing progress and success, more people are encouraged to stand with us and fight. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Next up, we have the Comptroller, Brad Lander.
Congratulations to this amazing coalition. You guys did an incredible job here, and there are so many fantastic advocates on the call, Bronx River Alliance, and every single other remarkable partner here. So I just really this is a people's victory. Props to all of you and to the electeds on the call as well. I see Assemblymember Septimo and Councilmember Farias, and I know there were many others as well. This is a big deal, y'all, to get the governor to listen to community, and change what is long-standing. I mean, especially combined with the Route 17 decision. For decades, New York State transportation policy has been to widen highways and build more car infrastructure rather than work with communities on more sustainable, community-friendly, environmental justice forward policies. I started working with many of you a couple decades ago when I was at the Pratt Center for Community Development with my dear friend Elena Conti. When you guys were winning things, yeah, props Elena, when you guys were winning things like Starlight Park. I mean, the fact that Starlight Park came out of the great work that folks in the Bronx did with the transformation of the Sheridan, keeping that from getting eroded by what would have had really negative impact on the park is a big deal. And then we did here, and I want to give credit to Sindhu Bharadwaj in our office, this great report called Shifting Gears that urged the State Department of Transportation to think in the way that other states like Colorado, Minnesota, and California have, more thoughtfully about how we reduce vehicles, miles traveled, promote environmental justice outcomes, and do so many of the things that advocates on this call have been pushing for a long time. It's been hard to see progress on that front, but this week, with this great outcome here and Route 17, you can feel the tide turning, and that progress that people want to see going forward in terms of working with the community on the Five Bridges project and coming up with other alternatives. I think we should see it for what it is, a real opportunity to keep shifting gears. And I'll just end with this observation. You know, on the one hand, I'm bummed like everybody else that the federal government canceled the grant that would have helped the community develop more of these ideas. But let's be clear, that's because Donald Trump is on the side of, you know, cars and pollution and screwing communities like those in the Bronx. And we are on the side of those communities getting the environmentally just future that they and we all deserve. And the fact that the governor is shifting toward that side in this fight is such a tremendous step forward. So congratulations. Thank you for all the advocacy. Let's keep pushing forward. We promise to keep being there every step of the way.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And next we'll hear from Assemblywoman Emerita Torres.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's so great to be here. I'm actually in Albany for a hearing right now. I just want to say thank you, first of all, to the tremendous advocacy that every group has played, the role that every group has played on this issue and with respect to the expansion of the Cross Bronx Expressway. This work is not over. It's definitely not over. But I will say that we have a victory under our belt when it comes to urban infrastructure planning and comprehensive planning when it comes to our community, because we all know that we don't want more air pollution. We don't want more asthma hospitalizations in the Bronx. We don't want the crisscrossing of highways to continue. So I'm really, really happy with this outcome. I know that the work is definitely not over. I've done, and this work started actually before I was elected in 2024 in November, when we did our first press rally on this issue. But I've engaged at every level of government, city, state, and federal, on this issue with our governor, with our transportation commissioner several times. We actually just held a roundtable that I thought was very, very successful in bringing all stakeholders to the table to have a discussion, not just of what we need to eliminate from this project, but what is possible. And I think that is the crucial conversation that's next. And I want to thank particularly the Bronx River Alliance for all the work that they have done in terms of coming up with alternative proposals for what we want to see in our community, because that is the next step. And I'm so excited and ready, willing, and able to continue this fight to make sure we get those proposals on the table for the future of this project. So I'll stop there, but thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Torres, for your words and for your leadership. Next, we have City Council Majority Leader Amanda Farias.
Thank you so much, Nilka, and a big thanks to the Bronx River Alliance, the Stop Cross Bronx Expansion Coalition, and really to all of our partners for keeping this fight alive. As mentioned, I'm Amanda Farias, Majority Leader of the City Council, and a lifelong Bronxite who has grown up and still lives near the Cross Bronx, and quite frankly, who's an asthmatic because of the proximity of growing up by all of the parkways and highways. I know that our infrastructure decisions must start and end with the people who actually live here. Last Thursday's announcement from Governor Hochul and the New York State Department of Transportation is a major win for us. Bronx residents made it clear we won't accept projects that deepen inequality or poison our air. Over 130,000 vehicles, including tens of thousands of diesel trucks, already choke the Cross Bronx and our communities. The scrapped plans would have made that worse and destroyed green space in Starlight Park, which, as the comptroller already mentioned, was a huge win that we've had in our advocacy in the past. And that all happens because of all of us on this call, because of the constant advocacy that many of you here made. Now it's crucial that the state continue working with all the advocates and the Bronx electeds in full transparency. I'm confident that together we can reach a project that truly serves our borough, improving infrastructure without sacrificing the health of our Bronx families. And, this is such a huge victory for us. I remember there was once a not 62 dream for the Bronx, and I feel like a win like this helps us move forward in that goal. So I'm really just grateful for everyone's hard work and advocacy, and I'm looking forward to maintaining the persistence with the state and standing arm in arm together in the fight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that commitment. Next up, we have Assembly Member Amanda Septimo.
Yes, hi. I will be very brief. Of course, I want to echo the thank yous to everyone who made this happen. And I really want to double down on the concept of this feeling like such a critical victory for the community. I have been doing environmental justice work since I was a teenager. And if you've heard me speak at any of these sorts of things, you will have heard me say that my goal is to make sure that 50 years from now, there are not South Bronx teenagers still fighting about air quality and still fighting to make sure that real equity is realized when we're talking about this work. And this is the kind of work that makes it so that we get closer to that reality. And it is not to be understated that it does not happen without all of the community's work. The fact that in the rain, we were standing cold in a press conference, making sure that the message was heard, that there has been relentless advocacy by the representatives like my colleague Assemblymember Torres, but also by every single person on this call and so many others. That is why it happens. And I think what shouldn't ever be lost is that we have to keep pushing to make sure that this victory is not considered enough by way of the state's action. We need to make sure that the state commits to getting this work done within the existing structure of the highway, not widening it, not growing it for any reason, making sure that we get to the goal that we know is possible, that we know is deserved, and that we know is ultimately what is fair for our community. And so I want to, take this moment to pause and celebrate. But tomorrow, looking forward to all of us coming together to continue fighting until we can get all the way to the goal. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Assemblywoman Septimo. Next up, we have Carolyn Chin, the Director of Environmental Justice at New York Lawyers for Public Interest.
Good morning, everyone. I want to first join in applause for all of you here for your tireless advocacy in this work. And I commend DOT leadership and staff for hearing our collective calls to truly reimagine the Bronx for a future free of traffic congestion and sickening pollution. As a legal civil rights organization, NILPI now calls on the DOT to help drive the state forward to protect our communities and our climate. This is more important now than ever. DOT must formalize and publish agency rules and regulations to standardize its decision here in compliance with the New York's Climate Leadership and Community Leadership and Climate Protection Act. Only then can we ensure that community-oriented and climate-forward transportation planning is replicated for all New Yorkers, in particular in disadvantaged communities, as the law requires. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we'll hear from Diana Burnell, Program Coordinator at Bronx Health Reach.
Thank you, Nilka. Good morning, everyone. As a Bronx-based coalition, Bronx Health Reach is proud to partner with other Bronx-based community organizations to advocate for a healthier community for all Bronx residents. We are glad to hear that New York State Department of Transportation and Governor Hochul have decided to halt plans to build an unnecessary new road along the Cross Bronx Expressway. There's still a lot of work to be done to make the reimagined Across Bronx a reality in making a healthier environment for all Bronx residents. And I want to give a special thank you to our partner Bronx River Alliance, especially Sir Arthur Sanchez, Daniel Reynolds, and Victoria Toro for bringing us together and making our voices heard. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Diana. Next, we'll hear from Dart Westfall, Bronx Council for Environmental Quality.
Hi, everybody. BCQ has a bedrock principle that every public project should make the environment better. The State Department of Transportation always wants to make highways bigger. Those things do not go together. We have to make sure that this project makes the environment better, that it mitigates the harms that have already happened from the Cross Bronx, not add to them. This is a great day, but we're not done yet. Thank you.
Thank you, Dart. And next, we'll hear from some students at Fannie Lou Hamer High School under the leadership of Jeff Palladino and educator Yancey. Evan Diaz.
My name is David Gomez. I am a student from Fannie Lou Hamer High School. I believe that the school and whatever the Bronx River Alliance has done and the people at Point CDC have done for this area is so amazing, and I think this is just a big monumental step for me being 15 years old. I believe that young people in the Bronx always have a voice, and the young people in the Bronx deserve to have a voice. And me being a part of what this whole experience was amazing. And I believe this is not only a big win for the people of New York, but it's a big win for the young people of New York as well. It is a big win for us because it shows that yes, we are educated, and yes, we deserve a voice, and yes, we deserve to speak about the issues in this world if we are living it. I have had peers here at this school who are constantly affected by this issue, who are constantly affected by pollution while dealing with health problems like asthma, and also all these things that involve health issues. And I always say that I believe in not only helping us, but the next generation as well.
Thank you so much, David. We'll see him on the ballot in a few years. Chauncey Young from Harlem River Coalition.
Good morning, all. Chauncey Young, he is our coordinator of the Harlem River Coalition. The Harlem River Coalition has worked for nearly 20 years to reconnect community members to the Harlem River in both the Bronx and Upper Manhattan. And we are proud to be a part of this coalition and part of the Environmental Justice Task Force with the Bronx River Alliance. This is an incredible victory. With the support of the governor's office and the State Department of Transportation, we were unsuccessful in the Harlem River to get DOT to provide that greenway access and community access when the renovation of the Deegans. This is so important, and this needs to be a focus across the city in this. I'm at a ribbon cutting for a park on the Harlem River Greenway in the Manhattan side, and the Bronx deserves more greenway and cleaner air for all. So appreciate you all. Glad to be a part of this coalition. Onward, upward, the fight continues.
Thank you, Chauncey. And next we'll hear from Danny Pearlstein, Policy and Communications Director at Riders Alliance.
Thank you much, Nilka. It's so wonderful to be here with everybody. This is a huge victory for the Bronx and a huge victory for transit riders. The Bronx is more dependent on bus service than any place else in the United States, and this is a tremendous moment of momentum. We have the momentum that we need to stop the harms, to stop the expansions of highways in our midst, and to double down on the transit that we need and deserve, the transit that's affordable and making it efficient. This is an opportunity for the Tremont Busway, the Fordham Bus Priority Project, and it's an opportunity to make sure that the Bronx is better connected both internally and throughout, not just flyover country, not just pass through country for people from the suburbs. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Danny. Next, we have Kate Slevlin, Executive Vice President, Regional Plan Association.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kate Slevin, Executive Vice President at Regional Plan Association, and we're an urban planning nonprofit that works for a more livable New York City region. And RPA just wants to recognize the incredible advocates on this call for making this happen. You are all amazing, and we all need that right now. So fabulous work. We also want to recognize Governor Hochul and the New York State Commissioner Dominguez, Commissioner of the DOT, for this decision and for the decision Route 17 in Orange and Sullivan counties. It's really wonderful to have both of those decisions come within a week of each other. So we recognize that and really appreciate your efforts. RPA, as an urban planning group, knows that highways are new highway lanes are traffic generators. So removing the proposed connector is a win-win-win. It's good for traffic, it's good for the environment, and it's good for the community. And we know that transportation decisions do not have to run counter to environment and equity goals. And as a regional group, we also know that regional mobility should not come at the expense of community health. So our work is not over, RPA is here, and we're eager to support everyone on this call as the project advances. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. And next we'll hear from Kathy Park-Price, Director of Advocacy and Policy at New Yorkers for Parks.
Thank you, Nilka. Hi, everyone. As a member of this tremendous coalition to stop the Cross Bronx expansion, New Yorkers for Parks celebrates this major victory for public health, for parks and open space, and environmental justice. Guided by our mission to build, protect, and promote a thriving, equitable, and accessible park system for all New Yorkers, we know that parks and open spaces are essential infrastructure for a healthy city. The Cross Bronx has divided and choked communities with pollution for generations. Now it's time to focus on solutions, repairing what's broken, expanding green space, and investing in transit that serves people and reduces car and truck dependency. Let's make this a turning point for the Bronx and for every New Yorker who deserves clean air and a healthy city.
Thank you, Kathy. And next we'll hear from Gareen Bogosian, Architect and Urbanist at Org.
Thank you, Nilka. As urban planners and designers, we at Org recognize the Cross Bronx Expressway's harmful legacy and its ongoing impact on both the built and natural environment and the communities along its length. So we welcome the state's decision to withdraw plans for building a new road that would have added more harm. We believe that public infrastructure investments must advance community benefits, improving local connectivity, enhancing quality of life, and fostering environmental and social resilience. Org will continue to support the coalition's efforts towards a just, safe, and thriving future for the Five Bridges area. Thank you and congrats, everybody.
Thank you so much, Corinne. M. Ruby, Senior Coordinator at Advocacy and Policy at Riverkeeper.
Thank you, Nilka. Hi there, I'm Ruby. I work at Riverkeeper, and Riverkeeper is, protects the Hudson River from source to sea, including all the waters of New York City. For decades, Bronx residents have worked to restore and get access to the Bronx River at Starlight Park, and today we have defeated this proposed highway expansion that would have brought more stormwater pollution and construction debris to this sensitive ecosystem. While we applaud Governor Hochul and the state DOT for rejecting this harmful proposal, as a coalition, we must continue to fight for a plan that doesn't bring more air and water pollution to this community. And Riverkeeper is proud to be a part of this coalition and to continue this fight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Em. Adrian Cacho, Senior Organizer, Open Plans.
Good morning, folks. So it is great to see that the New York State DOT has scrapped all of option one. It is clear that they understand the community does not want any expansion or widening of the Cross Bronx Expressway, and we will continue to mobilize until community-led alternatives are prioritized, more specifically investment in public transit, public space, and public health across the Bronx. Now is the time to prioritize community, active mobility, and connection. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. David Abreu, Clean Water Advocacy Specialist at Save the Sound.
Thank you, Nelka, and good morning, everyone. I'm David Abreu from Save the Sound, a nonprofit focused on the protection and restoration of the Long Island Sound region. And we're thrilled that the New York State Department of Department of Transportation is no longer considering an additional and unnecessary bridge over the Bronx River, which would have contributed additional harmful stormwater pollution to this important part of the Long Island Sound ecosystem. The community stood up for environmental justice, access to healthy green spaces, and water quality, and together we achieved this major win. Big congratulations to the whole coalition and fellow Bronx community members, and we look forward to continuing to advocate for a more just and sustainable corridor alongside you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. With that, we conclude our speakers. I just want to mention the students of Fannie Lou Hamer High School will be doing a rally tomorrow at Starlight Park at 10:30 a.m. If you are available, come rally with them, check out the park, check out the Greenway, check out the Bronx River, and make sure you check out the spot where this expansion would have been and celebrate that victory with us.